Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Papeterie de Choix and welcome to Freelance Friday. Today I'm going to be cutting down a couple of digitals that I made for the front and back cover of the tin that I painted. I have decided to leave the brown hammered paint on, but I did sand it a little bit so that it would take the paper better. So what I'm going to do is cut these two files down, just cut them in two, and then cut them to size for the project. They don't have to be exact, but the, let's see, well, you can see the tin, and you can see that this is going to cover it roughly about like this, but what I want to do is I want to coffee stain these, both of these papers before, and let them dry before I actually go any further. So I will do that and be back shortly. Okay, so I have stained them with the tea stain, and the tea stain has a little bit of dried coffee in the bottom in the the tub that I use. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the top to the side because I'm going to do the bottom first, and I'm going to put this tin over it and center it top and bottom, and maybe put just a little bit more on the bottom if I can keep it straight, and just work out my center point and bring it over. Let me turn this whole thing around so I can see the other side, roughly where that line is. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to very lightly make sure my top and bottom is lined up over here. I'm just eyeballing this, I'm not measuring. So I'm just going to make a faint line around this edge. Let's see where it is. Not too bad for somewhat of a guesswork. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so the next thing will be, I'm going to just come in close so I can get me a pencil line to line up with my trimmer. And I will be cutting just inside that line or right on it. I can always trim it. I'd rather it be a little too big at the beginning than too small, because I can always cut it down a smidgen. I cannot make it any taller. Let's see, let me go this way. Alright, it's one side down, and it has these curved lines, or curved corners, so those will probably get hand cut. Okay. or at least cut. Well, this is not too bad. I'll just go ahead and finish it this way. And let's round this little portion. Well, if I can get my scissors right on that pencil line. And I see I poked a little hole in it there, but that's actually not bad, because things like that help it to look older. So let me put a little ink in my Ink-a-Doodle thing. I think I might have said this in another video. This little thing I use is the glass lid with the rubber or plastic stopper that goes into a jar. So, but it just fits this thing, and so that's why I use it. Now, I want to get a line that kind of sinks in on this paper. And it looks like it's doing a pretty good job so far. And this is coffee ink, so you can see it's quite a bit darker than the tea ink. I think I'm going to lay it down and do a little bit of just coloring it in at the top a little bit. A little bit more at the bottom. And then I'm going to just hit it a little bit just to give it a little bit of aging with the coffee. Okay, I'm going to hit this with the iron. Okay, so that dried a little bit, so let's see how well it's going to fit and make sure that I put it on the right way. So it needs to go this way, and I'm probably going to have to do some slight trimming. So let me line this up, and I'm going to take about a 1/16, well, an 1/8 altogether, but I'm going to do roughly a 1/16 on either side. And my blade is obviously getting dull, but in a way I don't mind that, because I don't mind the roughness of the sides. I think it's actually going to give it some character. So for once, a dull blade will play into my favor. Okay. So let's do this side now. This one's gonna, well, I spoke too soon. I think it's because it might still be just a touch damp, but that's okay. Alright. And we're going to do the same to the ends, just taking a little off of it, and then I will trim those corners or hit them with the biggest corner punch, circle corner punch that I have. We'll go from there. Okay. Now let's see where we are. Okay, the width is good. I need just a little bit more off the bottom, like a smidgen. A smidgen. Alright, let me grab my circle punch because I forgot to get it. And I'm going to use this number 10, and I believe it will give me, well, it says you've always used thick paper in me, and I don't know what to do with the thin paper. Oh well, if nothing else, it gives me marks to go by to cut it with scissors. Maybe that's the key. Yep. Alright, go back in. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be doing this with scissors and hoping that I'm in the neighborhood of in the right place. It's all about improvising sometimes, isn't it? If one thing don't work, you get the thing that does. Which can apply to so much more than craft tools. Okay. Okay, this one's good. I need a little bit more here and a little bit more there. So I need just a little bit more curve in that one. And a little bit more in this one. Okay, this one's still off slightly. Trial and error. Trial and error. Okay, are we there yet? Are we there yet? I believe we just might be. That still is tight, but I think, now I guess I probably ought to trim just a smidgen off of here too, because when the paper gets wet it is going to stretch, because I'll be using I'm just going to barely take a little bit off. I'll be using my homemade glue mixture to put this on and seal it. And then once I get the whole thing done, the whole thing decorated, excuse me, then I'll be putting a layer of matte clear spray paint on it. But I think that's going to work just like that. Okay. Alrighty. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit cleaner workspace. Open up this glue, and I might end up having to get a new brush. I don't try to clean my brushes. I bought a whole pack. I have them right here. I bought this pack. There's 36 in here. You can see I don't glue quite as much as I used to, but I had that for about 1.5 years, and I've not even used half of them. But I just use them, wrap them in a sandwich bag, and I just use them until they can't be used anymore, and then I just get a new one. Okay. Make sure that is coated really well, but very thinly. This is the and that's the one good thing about the glue mixture. It gives you some room or wiggle time, whatever you call it. But once it starts to set in, it sets in. I'm just using my thumbnail. I probably ought to use some sort of tool, but I'm not. I'm just using my thumbnail to get that paper to lay down in the corners. Yep, it did stretch a little, but I'm going to pack it down. Oops, not like that though. Pack it down and smooth it back out. Now, I had a little short ruler, I thought. But, okay, we'll just do this by hand. Just smooth it out from the center to the edges. That looks okay. A little bit of wrinkling is alright. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit on the bottom side before I put anything else on the top. And once it's dry, I'll be putting a whole coat over here. So I'll be right back as soon as this is dry. Okay, I have made an executive decision. I am going to put the front on before I decoupage this, put the top layer on. But it turned out looking pretty good, I thought. And that way I could open it like so, and they can both dry at the same time. So I'm going to do this one the same way that I did the other one, as far as putting the lines down, but this one is a little bit more delicate, dare I say delicate. So I'm just going to put me a little mark to go by here, so that I sort of know where the center is across it, and kind of get it lined up like so. And just trace around it. Now the good thing about this one is with going over the top, I don't have to worry about inserting it inside the little frame that the back has here. So what I can do here is cut around it, glue it on, and then I'll take sandpaper or a fingernail file and I'll file the edges down, and that will take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just round the edges this way, which is how I should have done it on the other one, but it's been a while since I've done this, or this sort of thing, so I just sometimes you just work and do stuff, and then you're just like, how did I do that again? Okay, so let's line that little pencil line up here. And I can hopefully get these edges trimmed without the blade doing too much damage, with it being it's starting to get dull. But it works good on papers like this if you want them a little rough around the edges. Okay. Now let me just dot those corners, not the corners, but just those little. Well, I think they'll probably be alright. I did just lightly spray the inside. I know it's got a little bit of a shine, but it was like that goldy bronze color inside, and it was so reflective when the sun hit it when I was outside painting it. You couldn't even stand to look at it. Okay, now I'll be putting some other decoration on this, on top of this, but for now I just need this part to glue down. So let's put a thin layer here. We've got, it's been raining since last night, and we must have a storm coming in because the rain has just become strong and steady, and the wind's picking up. So the weather outside is starting to look and sound like fall. Okay, now you kind of only have one good run really at this, so I'm going to try to get it. This needs to come this way just a tiny bit, but that was too much. How does that look? Not too bad. And those squarish round corners I can knock down with I'll probably use a nail file where they go over slightly. Okay, so, but that's the front. I've got a little bit of glue. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry and I will be back shortly. Okay, so the top and the bottom is dry. So what I'm going to do now is just take my nail file on the rougher side, and I'm just going to go around this edge and just hit it with the file. I'm going to have to do it toward me, and I'm going to have to press it against my chest a little bit. There we go. So the paper that I used to print this is just regular copy paper. Nothing fancy at all. And this little piece that's down here, I'll take that off when I'm done. It should just slide right off. most of it popped off just then. The one good thing about is hitting it with the nail file like that is the covering or the paint that was on the original was a burgundy, and now I've sanded it all the way back to the original tin, the metal tin. So I'll be going over this these outsides with another layer of paint, not spray paint, but acrylic metallic paint. Just haven't made up my mind exactly which color yet. And then I'll also be putting some sort of decoration here. The next thing I'll be doing is putting a paper. I'll have to print some more out and figure out which one I want it to be, but I'll be putting a paper on the inside of here. I'll probably be putting one here, but I might end up putting something with a pocket here. Not sure about this side. I'm going to do something a little bit different though in the inside cover, but I'll definitely be putting one in the bottom similar to this one. So that's the next step in the project done. Hope you're enjoying this somewhat different type of craft. Hopefully in the next episode I'll get back to the journal and work on those papers, but we'll see how time goes. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.